Today we have the privilege to have Christian Boyce with us, and he's going to be talking about hidden features of the Mac. And Christian is a Mac and iPhone consultant and author. He has 2 engineering degrees, UCLA and at the University of Texas, and he's also a former rocket scientist. But his primary focus these days, and has been for a while, is helping people with their Macs. So if you want to learn more, check out his site, christianboyce.com, I believe it is. And Christian, you can correct that if I'm wrong. I didn't put that in my notes. But outside of that, he's going to be talking about hidden secrets of the Mac. And this is all going to be stuff where you don't have to pay for third-party apps. He's going to show you how we can do this just with native apps. So Christian, it is all yours, and take it away.
Okay, great. Yeah, when you say that I've been doing this for a while, you're right. I've been doing it full time since 1991. So anyway, it's been a little while. So I was only 6 years old. So anyway, so today I get to do something I really like doing, which is teaching people things that they can do on their Mac with the software they already have. So but there's a lot of stuff that you can do if only somebody shows you. So today that's going to be me, and I'm going to start. So I have a presentation. I'm going to show you some slides. We'll switch back and forth between the slides and doing things live. And you'll get a copy of the handout. I believe it's actually, it might be, well, I don't know where it is, but you'll get one. So you don't need to take a lot of notes because you'll get reminded of how it all works with the handout. But I didn't want you to read the handout and then tune me out. So that's why we're gonna do it like this. Okay, so let's start by sharing my screen, and we'll watch a little, we'll do some videos here. Let's see, find the right screen, desktop 1. This seems like a good one. Let's use this. Okay, so our talk is, like Dan said, hidden features of Mac OS. Whoops, don't want to do that. I'm going to do it right here. So let's talk about the Finder. So the Finder is one of these deals where a lot of people don't even know what it is. Okay, it's an icon that's got this sort of smiling jack here. And this is where we manage files, where we name files, organize files, put them into folders and that kind of thing. But it's so tightly integrated with the Mac, it sort of is the Mac. But the problem is that we don't really know how to use it because no one sends you a bunch of instructions when you get it. So first thing I'm going to show you how to do is a new folder with selections. What I'm going to do is I'm going to generate some files here. I'm going to go to the Maps app here, and I'm going to take some screenshots. And you know what happens when you make screenshots? You end up with them on the desktop. So I'm going to do, this is my neighborhood. I'm going to do some Command-Shift-4 here. So there's that. And I'm going to just sort of pan along like I'm driving downtown. I'm going to take some more pictures. Okay, and I'll just go a little bit further here. Okay, I'll just do a couple more. Let's go. We're getting closer now. Let's go over here. Okay, and one more. Didn't quite make it downtown, but that's all right. Okay, so I've got these screenshots, and if we look, you see on the desktop here, I've generated all of these screenshots. Well, this particular desktop picture, what I've got here is very clean and neat because it's not my real Mac. It's my sort of demo Mac. And in real life, I would have files all over the place. And one of the things we like to do is organize things. So I'm going to start by putting these 4 things into a folder. Now, the hard way to do it, this is what the normal person does, is they come over here, the file menu, they make a new folder, and then they drag these things over like this, and that works. Okay, it works. But as usual, there's a better way to do it, and that's why I'm here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of these like this. So I've got these 4 things selected. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File and say, make a new folder with selection. So you can see it says even 4 items. They know how many items I've selected. And this is a good clue for you in case you accidentally selected everything. you would see some very big number here. So I'll do this. And when you do this, they hop into that folder, and the folder name is highlighted in such a way that I could rename it right away. So you see my hands up here. I'm not going to click anything. I'm just going to type. So I'm just going to call this map screenshots, and now I can hit return when I'm done. So sometimes naming things is just a pain because you have to click and wait or hit return to get the file name into the right mode so you can type. But when you do it this way, everything is just ready for you to rename it. So it's nice and quick and easy. So here's another problem though, is when you look inside this folder, the names of these are just terrible, right? Screenshot 20230405 blah blah blah. Well, they're all almost the same because they were all taken with the same minute. But they also don't tell you what they are. Now I know what they are, as I just took these screenshots, but now that I know, I'd rather rename them. And we know how hard it is to rename things. And I don't want to do it 4 times. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename all of these something like map screenshot 1, map screenshot 2, that kind of thing. So it might even be more descriptive than that. So what I'll do again is I'm going to select them all. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here and I'm going to rename. You have this nice rename command. And here, I'm going to choose the option to format it. I'm going to call this, I'll call this LA map. And then I want them to have a 1 at the end. So it's going to LA map 1, LA map 2, LA map 3. So here I go. They show you a sample right here. So you can see what it's going to look like. And I'm going to just do it. And they're all renamed just like that. So now if we were doing this in person, my notes say pause for the applause to die down, because this is really cool. Okay, this is one of those things that if you have a lot of files to rename, imagine it's not 4. What if it's 40? And I've renamed them all. And let's say I decide I don't want it to say LA anymore. I want to make it say Los Angeles. So I can come here, go back to rename. I can say, you know what, let's replace LA with Los Angeles. Okay. And you can see again the example, and I'm going to say rename, and here we go. And there it is, they're done. That's such a nice thing to be able to do. So now you know. Okay, now let's say I'm going to take these things out of this folder. I'm going to put them over here. And let's say I changed my mind. I just took them out. Now I want to put them back. Well, I come up here to edit and I can say undo the move. So we don't usually think about undoing moves, but if I do that, they all hop back to where they were. Now this really comes in handy when you make a mistake like the one I'm about to make. I'm going to make a new Finder window. And let's view this. We'll view this as icons here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to take this folder full of screenshots. I'm going to try to drop it into documents. But you know what happens is sometimes you're moving things along like this, and somehow you accidentally let go, and you think, where did it go? You look in documents, of course it's not there. It's not where I put it. I put it somewhere else. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to edit again. I'm going to say undo move, and it'll put them back on the desktop so I have another chance at it. So if you drop something, which we do a lot when we're on a big screen like this, if we drop it on the way to the trash and it goes somewhere we don't know where, just go up to edit and say undo move, and they'll go back where they are. And I just thought of something. Maybe we can make the screen a little bit bigger so you can see this better. If Dan, you think that would be helpful? If it is, if you think it's helpful, I'll make it bigger. Let's make it bigger.
Yeah.
Yes, please do.
Yeah.
Okay. So now this is a good example of what are we going to do with the settings? Is that we're going into the settings here, and in the settings, this is the new settings for macOS Ventura, and they moved everything. Okay, I think someone thinks this is really a great way to organize it because it looks sort of like an iPhone settings, but everything you know from the past, all the years of using system preferences, it all goes out the window because nothing's where it used to be. So I'm going to search. I'm going to look for display. And so I see here display and brightness. That sounds pretty good. Let's look at that. And since I'm using this screen here, I'm going to change the resolution of this. Let's make this there, nice and big. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, good. So too. Okay, I should have done that for you to begin with. I hang my head. Okay, so now I've shown you how to undo a move, which is really nice. Okay, now let's look at the top area here across the top of this window. This is what's known as a toolbar, and it's important to know the words because some people never quite learn the words, and they don't know that this is the toolbar. This one up here is the menu bar. This one down here is the dock. And so when you're trying to have a conversation with somebody about how to do something, it's good to know that you're speaking about the same thing. If you do a Google search, it's nice to know how to ask for things. Instead of asking for that little strip across the top, you can say toolbar. Okay, so the thing about the toolbar, though, is these icons, I know what they mean, I think. Over the years, you learn, but it's easier if they have little names under them so you can really tell what they are. So there's a couple ways to do that. So the way I'm going to do it now, so I'm going to go to the view menu and I'm going to look for customized toolbar. Now you notice I made a mistake. I went to edit first. Well, I didn't see anything in here that said customized toolbar, so I knew that was wrong. So just kept trying. Let's go to customize toolbar. When you do, my favorite thing is down here at the bottom where it's saying show icon only. Well, even their sample one has words under it. I'm going to make it say icon and text. So when I do this, now I've got some words that tell me what these things do. So that's helpful to me right off the bat. But the other thing about this is it's customizable. Now I showed you the first time going this way, and that's perfectly good. So you can do that and you can customize it. We can grab tools and drag them into the bar. But I'm going to do it a little different way. And the reason I'm showing you this is because what I'm showing you here is going to also apply to other Mac apps, such as Mail or Preview and some other ones too. So what I'm going to do here is instead of going back here to View and Customize Toolbar, I'm going to hold down the Control key, which you can't see me doing, but trust me, I'm holding it down. And when I do, I'm going to click, and now I get a little Customized Toolbar menu right here. Same place, it's just quicker. So what I need up here, I need a trash can icon, because when I go to throw things away, I don't want to have to drag them all the way down to the trash. So I'm going to take this little delete button. I'm just going to park it right here. And if that's not the place I want, if I'd rather have it be somewhere else, I can hold down the command key and I can drag it to a different position. I can put it over here. I'll put it right there. Okay. The reason it's gray is there's nothing to delete. So I'm going to open up this screenshots picture, and you notice that what I did as a toolbar applies to all toolbars, not just the toolbar for that particular window. So that means that this window also has a delete button. So I can highlight what I want, I can click this delete button, and it flies to the trash. Now it's not instantly incinerated, it's just in the trash. We could drag it out of the trash if we wanted, just like we do if we had moved it by hand. And of course I can still bring it back too, right? If I want to undo putting it in the trash, but I'm gonna use the delete button. So it's totally up to you to customize this toolbar the way you want. So help yourself and have some fun in there. Okay, so let's look at some preferences for the Finder. The Finder actually has preferences, and of course in Mac OS 13 they don't call them preferences anymore. It's settings. So it's a mistake I'm going to make a lot today, but anyway, it's settings. So let's go to the settings. And so the Finder has settings, and one of the things that I like to turn on is this one to show the file name extensions, because if I don't, well, you can see over here on the right I have a PDF, which is your handout, and I have a keynote slide, which is down here. And if I didn't show the file names, it would look like they're both got the same name. Well, they do have the same name except for the extension, but one of them's a PDF and one's Keynote, and this makes it easier for me to tell which is which. So I'll leave that on. Let's look also right down here where it says keep the folders on top. Well, sometimes you have a big window with lots of items in it, and when you sort alphabetically or even by date, you may want to group all the folders together. And if you do, you would check this box. And if you don't, you would uncheck this box. Okay, so that's that. This is also an important place. If you look at your desktop and you don't see your hard drive, well, you can turn things on like this. There's my hard drive with a picture of me wearing the same shirt. External disks, CDs, servers, whatever. So these things are easily turned on and off as you wish. It's a little bit cleaner like this, up to you. But if you want your hard disk icon to show up, this is how you do it. Okay, and I'm going to leave. No, look at the sidebar too. Sidebar, of course, is this area over here up to the left in each window. You can control what shows up. There's other ways to do it, but these are sort of the standard things. So if your downloads folder isn't showing in your favorites and you want it to, well, make sure it's checked. Okay, that's easy enough. Okay, so that takes care of that thing. Now, one other thing you might like on the desktop, on this particular desktop, look, my desktop's super clean and neat because this is a brand new setup just for today's talk. But in reality, you get a giant mess. And if you get a giant mess and there's so many icons that it's almost, unwatchable, then what you would do is go here and use the stacks. When you use stacks, it groups things for you in either by kind. So it'll put all your pictures together, all of your PDFs together, all of your spreadsheets together, all your word processing documents together, or by the date that you used them. So you can have everything from last week grouped together, everything from last month grouped together. This is something for you to play with. It only works on the desktop. So if you've got a big messy desktop, I'm just going to leave it as an exercise for you to try using stacks. Now it is going to rearrange things on your desktop, and if you don't like it, you just don't use stacks. So if I do this and it moves things, I can just say, nope, don't use stacks after all. Okay, but if it really pays off if you have a lot of items on the desktop, and which I don't. Okay, so let's look back at our talk. So that takes care of basically our first little bit of our talk today. Okay, so now we're going to look at so that's it for Finder. We're going to look at system settings, and the things we're going to talk about here, I'm going to leave this up because the settings can overlap. So this used to be system preferences, now system settings. And as I showed you before when we were looking at the monitor size, the display size, you really have a hard time finding stuff unless you use this nice search box up here. So if I wanted to know how to adjust something about the keyboard, I could type in a little bit of the word keyboard, and now I can click and I can see these different things. Now, here's a problem. When you look at the system settings, it looks like they're cut off down here. Well, because they are cut off down here, but the problem is you don't know how much it's cut off. Is there, I don't know, another 6 inches worth of settings, or is it just maybe just one more? Well, the reason we can't tell is because there's no scroll bar. So somehow you're supposed to know that you're supposed to get over here and start scrolling anyway. Scroll bar magically appears when you do that, but that's not a good way to live. So first thing I'm going to almost insist you do is go to the general settings here, and we're going to I remember. We're going to always show the scroll bars. So actually it's under appearance. I was wrong. So in appearance, we're going to say always show the scroll bars. This is so much better. So now I can see that we're looking at about half of the settings, and I have something to grab, and there's the other half. So definitely do that. Okay, if you don't do that, you'll see there's a problem. In fact, I'm not going to do it right now, just to show you one more example. So suppose I went up here to the Apple menu, did about this Mac. You look at this, let's say we do more info, and it just sits there. And it looks like this is it. But it turns out that if you scroll a little bit, there's a lot more here. So we didn't get to see that because we didn't see the scroll bar. We didn't know we should scroll. So I'm going to go here to appearance, say always show me the scroll bars. So now if I do about this Mac again, and I hit more info, now I see that the scroll bar tells me that there's more to be seen. So now I know that I should scroll. So this is one of those things where this is not a matter of opinion. This is the truth. This is what you should do. So do it this way. It's going to make things better for you. It's going to work across the board, whether you're on a web page. You're on a web page and it's 8 feet long because it's a long article. You'll know, okay, because you'll see the scroll bar. Okay, let's do one more thing in here. On the modern Mac keyboard, there's a key that has a little globe on it, and we're going to set that to do what we want it to do. So I'm going to look at keyboard here. You do still have to spell it. So I'm going to go to keyboard, and when we go to the keyboard, we're going to see that there are a lot of options, and this is the one I'm talking about right here. Press the globe key to do something. Well, if I were typing sometimes in Spanish, I might want to have the little globe button change the input source, but I want it to do this one. I want to show the emoji palette so that when I'm typing something and I want to send somebody a happy face or something, I know I can pop that up by just pressing that key. So here's how it would work. Like this, let's say right here, I wanted to put a happy face. Well, I'm going to press that key with the globe on it, which on a Mac laptop these days is on the bottom left. When I press it, up pops this nice palette, and I can search it. So I'm going to look for I'll look for happy, and there's I guess a lot of things that are happy. Let's do that again. I mean, sorry, a little mistake. Okay, I'm going to search for happy again. And so all these things are happy. I'll put in this happy face. And when I double click this, if I'm lucky, it squirts in if I have, there we are. So I can search for a whole bunch of other stuff. There's so many things in here. If I look for football, okay, if I look for football, it'd be nice if I actually saw it. Wouldn't that be fun? It'd be fun if the search worked, huh? There we are. Okay, so here's a football. If I want to put a football in, I can drag it to place. I could double click it, but it's nice to have this palette that pops up, because otherwise, you have a hard time typing these emojis if you don't have sort of a cheat sheet, and that's what that globe gives you. All right, so much for system settings. Let's move forward. Let's look at some general Mac stuff. So here I have some representative Macs down here because this stuff works all the time. So let's say I open up a file. I'm going to do that now. Let's open up. I'm going to open up a file, and you're going to see me open it up so I know where it is. But supposing this happens a lot where you've got a file open like this, and you forget where it came from. Where is this file? Where does it live? Well, how would I find a copy to back it up or something like that? So if you wonder where it is, well, of course you do. So what we do is there's a couple things you can do. Now, this is Apple's Numbers app, and it's a very nice app, and it has this little down arrow here. If I click on this, it does show me where it is. It's in the documents. But what if what I want to do is sort of locate it in the documents folder, and I want to see it. I want to see the icon for it just popped open in a window. So if I hold the command key down and I click on the name here in the title bar, I see a whole path all the way back to my MacBook Pro itself. So here's my MacBook Pro. Here's the hard drive on the MacBook Pro. Then the users folder. Then my folder called demo. In demo, there's a folder called documents. Now, I've been holding the command key down the whole time. If I let go here on documents, it's going to pop open, and there it is. You see my document, and it's in the documents folder, and it's highlighted. So, I think I'm going to do one more thing. We'll leave it like that. So that can be extremely handy. It's going to work here. I'm going to open up Pages, and you'll see it in Pages. It works too. This is not much of a document yet, but if I hold the command key down, I can see, oh, this is in the documents also. Okay, so in real life, things are going to be much more messy, and you're going to have files all over the place, files in folders and folders and folders. This is how you find out where they are, and this is how you actually go to see them, by, again, highlighting whichever folder you want to pop open. So I'll pop open documents again, and there it is. All right, so very, very handy. Now let's talk about my old friend, the Option key. This is going to be your friend too. So here I've got a Pages document, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to demonstrate something using the Option key. Then we're going to see how that works other places too. So let's say I put a shape on here. I'm going to put a star here. Maybe I do some work on this star, and I'm going to make it, that would be a green star. Maybe I'll put a border on it. So let's put a little border on it like this. Okay, maybe I'll even put a shadow on it. Let's have a shadow. Okay, so there. Okay, so I've got this star. Now I want another star. Well, of course I can go like this, highlight it, come up here to edit and say duplicate it. This is standard stuff. And then I can, position it here like this. I can do that again and again. That's fine. But it's a little bit slow, even if you're using the keyboard shortcut there with the Command D for duplicate, which is tricky because sometimes Command D is a delete thing, but here it's duplicate. Well, it just takes a while to do it. So I'm going to do it another way. Now, first I'm going to show you what we already know how to do. We know that we can move this star anywhere we want. We click on it and we drag it around. But if you hold the Option key first, so whether it's selected or not, I'm going to select on it. I'm going to hold the Option key down, click on it. And now as I drag, I'm dragging off a copy. So I'm dragging off a copy, I'm dragging off a copy. So that's really quick and easy. If I wanted to drag off a copy of all four of these, I could highlight all four, hold the Option key, and drag down, and I've made a copy. So that's simple, that's great, but I promised that it would work other places. So let's see it work other places. So I'm going to hide that. Let's say here in this spreadsheet I've made, the happiness table, we have these three names. It turns out it's my sister, my brother, and we're going to keep track of how happy they are. So if my brother's grumpy in week 1, and I want to put grumpy into week 2, if I grab this and drag it over, it just moves. So let's put that back. I'll do it like this. If I hold the Option key down, I drag a copy over. Okay, we're just going to he's going to be grumpy all the time. So we're just going to, I know this guy. So we'll just do like this. Okay. So, and maybe he'll get happy at the end. So let's give him the benefit of the doubt here. I'll Option drag there. Happy ending. So, so it worked there. That's nice. We saw it in Pages. That worked. Let's see it here in the Finder. Let's say I've got, these screenshots. Maybe I want to put these screenshots away somewhere. So I'm going to put, let's make a new Finder window, and I want to put a copy of this in the Documents folder. But if I just drag it like this, they just go there and it's gone. So that's not a copy. It's the real thing moved. So let's put it back. This time, when I move it, I'm going to hold the Option key, and you'll notice when I do, now I get a little plus that shows me where it's making a copy. So now I've got one in there. I still have mine here. So, and here they are. Now this guy, now I'm going to use my delete button that we made before, and I'll throw that away. See how it all comes together. Okay, so option dragging is great for duplicating just about anything. It's going to work all over the place. It'll even work in our presentation here. If I wanted to make another one of these MacBook Pros, I can hold the option key and drag one off, and there it is. Okay, so nothing to it. So,
Hank has a quick question. Hank, it's really a copy. It's not an alias.
That's a good question, and that's a good answer. That's exactly right. It's the real copy. So, you know, sometimes there's a need, sometimes there's not, but that's what we want to do this time. Okay, now, also with the option key, so you can see here I'm saying use the option key. The option key is your friend. So we've got to use the option key, and you'll notice that things change when you hold the option key. Like, for example, menu items up here, this says about this Mac, but if I hold the option key down, it changes to system information, you see? So it's just by holding down the option key. So when I do this, it takes me straight to this window, which is different. Let's say somehow over the course of a day, I've got a whole bunch of windows open like this, big mess. And instead of closing them one at a time like this, or going up here and saying close window. So right now, I've got close window, got my hands in the air, and now I'm going to hold the option key, and it changes to close all, you see? So when I hit that, and a bunch of other things change too, but we're going to do close all, and they all close. So that's going to work lots of places, not just in the Finder, but you know, just try it, hold the option key, you know, you're going to find a bunch of nice surprises. Okay, so in fact, I'll show you one more. Supposing I'm going to take one of these screenshots, and let's say somehow this screenshot, we want to rotate it for one reason or another. Well, up here, I've got a nice rotate button, and you see it says rotate left. Well, okay, if I wanted to rotate left, that's great. If I wanted to turn it around one more time like that, I could. If I want to put it here, I could. Now, it took me 3 clicks to get here because I had to keep turning left 3 times. Sometimes it's easier to turn right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the option key, and look, the little arrow goes the other way. So with the option key, without the option key, it's a left. With the option key, it's a right. So there's all kinds of delicious little secrets like that, and it's all about the option key. So there's a lot of experimenting, but it really helps. Zooming in on something with the option key, it'll turn into zoom out. So this is going to work not just in the Apple apps, but things like Photoshop. You get different. The tools work differently, usually backward, when you hold the option key. Okay, let's look at something completely different. I'm going to go to Safari, and here was Safari. Okay, and oh, you know, I'm going to show you one more thing with the option key before I forget. Suppose you got something like this, and you want this to be bigger. Well, the normal person hits the button up here, this green one, and it goes so full screen that you lose your menu bar, and that's no fun, because then you have to sort of poke up there and make it come back. If you hold the option key down when you do it, this changes, and so now it's just bigger without hiding your menu bar. So that's the way I like it. Now, yesterday, if this looks like it's kind of rigged, this one is rigged. I decided to read this article here about climate change in Florida. So I thought that might be interesting to some people. And, you know, it's a long article. It's a long article, and it's full of ads. So you're going to get 2 for 1 here. The first thing I'm going to do is in Safari, I'm going to say, show the reader view. This I can handle reading. This is nice. Get rid of those ads. But I would like this thing to read out loud to me. So I'm not sure if I turned on the sound. We're gonna find out. I hope I did. All right. So under here, under edit, we see speech and we see start speaking. So, Sheila, will you let me know if you hear it?
Of course.
Climate change means for Florida's future.
Yes.
Good.
Florida has entered a particularly volatile storm season in 2022. In early September, Hurricane Ian tore through the area, devastating.
So I could have this thing read the article to me while I fold my socks or something else. Okay, so I'm a fast reader, but I can't read and fold socks at the same time. So this way I can have it be read to me, and basically it's an audio book without paying for an audio book. Now you have choices here. You might not have liked the sound of I believe that was Samantha. So let's go here. I'm going to search because I don't know where that is. I'm going to look for speech. And let's look at, I'm going to guess it's this one, speaking rate. So that was Samantha. And I'm going to say, well, why don't we see, who else do we have? Let's try, let's hear how Fred sounds. And it should give me a sample.
I sure like being inside this fancy.
Well, that's terrible. So that's worthless. But let's find someone better. Well, these are some really good ones here. So let's try Daniel from the UK.
Hello, my name is Daniel. I am a British English voice.
Okay, and so I can speed it up. I can slow it down. Let's make him a little slower.
Hello, my name is Daniel. I am a British English.
So up to you. I'm going to leave this up to you to play with and find the voice you like. But the fact is that you do have these controls. You have lots of controls, and you can add English. These are all English in my case, but they're all different accents of English. And stay away from some of these. Like, well, we'll just do this. Just listen. Okay, you get the idea. So not for us. I'll stick with Samantha. All right, so it's nice to be able to have something read to you. Now, supposing this is such an interesting article to me that I decide that I want to work with this. I want to copy it and maybe I'm going to write turn this into something that I want to print. So I'm gonna highlight some of this. In fact, let's highlight up to here. I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna go down here to pages, and I'm gonna make myself a new pages document, and I'm gonna paste this in, and I'm gonna choose just a blank document, and let's just paste this in. Okay. And so let's say that we want, like, maybe this would be better. Maybe we think this part would be better if it was all caps. Well, I don't want to have to type this all caps. I'm going to just change it. I'm going to come here to edit, and I'm going to say transformations. I'm going to say make it uppercase. It's all caps. So if someone's giving you text that's all caps, you can sort of undo it by going in reverse. So here, first I'll make this uppercase. And let's say somebody typed the whole thing, or maybe you accidentally typed something in all caps because you had the caps lock on by mistake, and you did this. Yuck. Okay. And someone says, don't shout at me, make this lowercase. Well, I can't make it perfect. They don't have sentence case here, but I can say select it all. And I could come down here to transformations and just say capitalize. If I do this, every word's capitalized. That's no good. So we'll do select all again, and I'll make it all lowercase. That's a start. So now all I have to do is go through and fix a couple of letters, the beginning of each sentence. So this feature is there in a lot of apps. So whether you're using Pages or Numbers or Keynote or many other things, text edit, you'll find that under edit, you have these two things, speech and transformations. And this will save you a lot of typing, because you wouldn't want to have to type something a second time just because you accidentally had caps locked down. Okay, so that takes care of that one. Let's look at the mail. We're going to look at We'll hide that. We'll hide that. Let's hide that. And let's, in mail, I'm going to show you that we're gonna attach something, and we're going to mail it. But the thing that we attach, we're going to dress up a little bit. So let's say I have this lovely map that we saw before, and I want to send this to someone in an email, but I want to mark it up. But I don't want to mark up the original here. So I don't want to draw a bunch of lines on this now, because I want to keep the original pristine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little picture. I'm going to drop it onto the Mail app, which is a nice shortcut because that makes us an email automatically with the attachment in it. But where's the drawing tools, where they hide under this little bitty button, and the button only shows up when you hover over the image itself. So over here, no button. Here, there's a button. It's right there, this little tiny downward arrow. When you click on this, you get markup. You get some other things too, but the main thing you get is markup. And so in here, we have the ability to make some shapes. I could put a circle on something here like this. Like maybe I need to show somebody how to get to the tire place. I'm going to say, here's how you do it. I can resize this. And you've got, all the controls that I think you've been shown in a previous class from someone else. You can change the colors, you can change the thickness, and that's great. And when you do this, you've only changed this copy. If I look over here, my Los Angeles map is still clean. So this is really cool. And it might surprise you that it works that way, but when you really think about it, let's say I delete this attachment. You didn't expect it to delete here, right? If I put this attachment back in, it's still here. It's still over here where it started. And if I delete this attachment one more time, we don't expect it to disappear from the Finder. We just expect to disappear it from the email message itself. So I'm going to send this to myself. I am going to put a little picture on here. I'll have an arrow. There's a nice arrow. This will point to, oh, I don't know. This is a good place. Get a good cheeseburger here at Father's office. Okay. So I'm going to send this to me, but, okay, that'll work. I'll say lunch idea. Okay. Now, what I want to show you here is that the normal thing is to click this button to send it, and we know how to do that. But if I click here, I can schedule it. I'm going to say, you know what, send this later. Send this at, let's send this at 11:30 my time. And when I do this, it's gone, but it's not really gone. It's in the send later folder here, and I could come back and look at this. I could edit this. I could throw it away, change my mind. But as I think I showed you with your iPhone a couple of weeks ago, that you could do the same thing with an iPhone. You can write a bunch of happy birthday greetings and stack them up here and send them, way in the future. They'll be ready to go out. Now, mail has to be running for this to go. So, you can't just quit the mail. I can hide it like this, but it will go. It'll go at 11:30. All right, a couple more things. We're coming close to the end. We're going to look at the calendar. So calendar, we like the calendar here. Here's the calendar app. It was on my other screen, but here it is. Now, there's different views, right? We know there's a day view, there's a week view, there's a month view, there's a year view. Well, these turn out to be Command 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can see the shortcuts here, 1, 2, 3, 4. But until you try them, you never really know how great these are. So I'm going to do Command 1. Here's the day view. I'm holding down the Command key again, and 2. There's the week view, and Command 3 is my month view, and Command 4 is my year view. So this is the view I generally use, is the 2. But it's every so often you've got to go into the day view, and then you can just quickly switch back with a Command key and the 2, and that's something you should just know how to do. Now, let's say you have a calendar and you make an event. So let's say I'm going to have a nice long lunch here, okay? And now I've put the lunch into the home category up here, you can see, and that's why it's blue. And maybe I changed my mind on this and I want to, no, I'll say this is work. Maybe I'm gonna take someone out to lunch. We're gonna talk about keyboard shortcuts or something. So the easiest way to change this, well, the hard way to change it is to double click this, come over here and change it to work like this. That worked. Then I have to close this up. The fast way is to hold the control key down, click on the event, and just quickly switch to the other category. Now, Apple calls those calendars, but you think you get the idea that one of them's home, one of them's work. So it's really quite easy if you're holding down the control key. So make sure it's a control key and not the command key. Okay, that's all I have for you for the calendar. The calendar is pretty simple, but it's it's better when you know these things. Let's talk about our friend the dock down here. So here's the dock, and it's fine. It's fine. You can see when you look at this that I've got some of the things in the dock have little dots under them, and that means they're running, right? We know this, but maybe we want to quit those things. Like maybe I want to quit the maps. I'm thinking fewer things running means the Mac should go faster. So if I realize I've left the maps running, I'm going to quit it. So the normal person is going to click on the maps like this and come up here and quit it. Okay, it takes 2 moves. Well, we're going to do it differently. We're going to do it like this. Even though maps isn't in the front, you see the finder's in the front up here. We're going to click and hold, and you see their little menu pops up. So it seems so simple, and how is it that we didn't know to click and hold? But once you do it, there it is. So now I could quit it like this. So I'm going to do that now. I quit the mail is what I did. We'll quit the maps. So same thing. Now, sometimes an app will get stuck and it won't quit. Now, I don't have an example of that. I don't have anything that's crashed. But when things get stuck, what we usually do is we come up here to the Apple and we go to force quit, and we find it in the list here. And we click on it, and then we force quit. That works. That certainly works. And of course, it's not what you want to do. You don't want to force quit things. You want to quit things as nicely as you can, but sometimes you have to do it. So let's pretend that maps was stuck. If I click on maps and I hold it, so I'm holding it down with the clicker. And now if I get my other hand and I use our old friend, the option key, watch what happens to the word quit. It turns into force quit. So if you needed to pull the plug on it, I could do this and it would force quit, and it's really quit. So it's really quite nice to be able to do that. Now, also today, we've done a few things that where we've opened up some other apps, like say preview. And I'm going to go to preview here, and I'm going to click on this and say, I want to keep preview in the dock. I can come up here to options, and now I'm going to say keep in the dock. So this is just the easiest way to do it. And you see it hopped over to the left of this line, which means it's permanently in the dock. So anyway, it's an easy way to do things. Just click and hold. And other things that I don't need in the dock, like maybe I don't need TV in the dock. I can click on this. I'm going to try it again. I'm going to click on this and hold it down, go to options, and I'm going to uncheck keep in dock, and it's going to go away as soon as I quit this here. There we go. So I don't need it in the dock. I'm not going to watch TV like that. So there's a lot of good stuff in here. Click, hold, look at the options. But you can even see here, here's things I've opened lately. I can make a new sheet. There's a lot of things I can do. So anyway, that's what we do. But it turns out that there is something else to do that's even better. When we look at the dock, we see all of these things down here. In fact, there's so many things down here, it's almost too cluttered to be useful. So what I would do is I would do Command and Tab. So you hold the Command key down. I'm holding the Command key down with my thumb. When I hit Tab, up pops this list of all the apps that are running. And if you look at this, you can see that the things that are on the screen there correspond to the things with a dot in the dock. But because there are fewer of them, and because they're bigger, it's much easier to visually grasp what's going on. You can see I have 7 things going. Now, you see what it did is it popped up, it's highlighted calendar. And if I let go with my thumb, the calendar, if it weren't hidden like this, it would switch to that. So I'm going to do it again. Command Tab. Now the Finder is in the front. You see, there's the Finder. I do it again. I can switch back to calendar. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to open up a bunch of things full screen. This is full screen. Here's my pages document. Here's my numbers document, and maybe even system settings. Let's do this. So this is what we usually see. What we usually see when someone wants to get to, say, the calendar is they start doing this. They start grabbing these things and pulling them down to try to reveal the calendar. They know it's down there. It's in there somewhere. So what we do instead is we hold down the Command key, keep it down, tap, just tap and let go on the Tab key. And I don't want to go to pages, so I'm going to hit the Tab again. That's the next one, the next one, the next one. I can let go now on the calendar, and it's right in front. If I hit Command Tab again, it switches back to where I was. Okay, so it's always switching between the last two things with the first tap. So nothing happens till you let go with the Command key. And I think it's easiest to use your thumb. Now, some people will do it like this. They'll do Command Tab, up pops the list. Then they'll use the mouse and they'll point to what they want. That's okay too. And it's certainly easier than going down to the dock where things are small, but it's not as good as just using the Tab key to jump. And if you want to go backwards, you see I'm going forward there. You want to go backwards, you use the key just above the tab, the little accent that's pointed the wrong way, and that works. You can also do Command Shift Tab. So Command Tab forward, Command tilde backward. So really quite a handy thing. All right, last but not least, I want to show you how to do some things in Preview. So let's say I'm gonna make a PDF out of this. So we know that we can make a PDF. I'm gonna say save this as a PDF, and I'm gonna put this on the desktop. There's a PDF, and I'm gonna put that away. And let's say I want to also make this as a PDF. So we'll print this again. And down here at the bottom, numbers a little bit different, but I'll still do this. Remember, you can save anything you can print, you can turn into a PDF. So let's save that on the desktop again. Okay, there was a shortcut there. That was Command D to get to the desktop. Okay, so now I'm done with that. But what I've got now is I have these two PDFs, and I kind of want them to be one PDF. Now I know these are dopey PDFs, but suppose you had something with multiple pages and you wanted to insert a page or two from some other PDF. How do we do this? Well, when we look at these two PDFs, and this is using the Preview app, you don't see a way to sort of grab it and drag it around. But if you click up here, you can show the thumbnails. So this is a one-pager right now. And if I look at this one here, this is also a one-pager. If I can grab this page, I can drop it over here, either above or below the page that's already there. So when I do this, I've actually created a second page in the same document. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Now let's say I'm going to make a PDF. This one's even better. What if I had these three ping files and I want to make a PDF out of them? A 3-page PDF. How do I do this? Well, you've got a great shortcut here. I'm going to hold down the Control key, and I get this. And when I click, I get this nice menu. So I've got the 3 of them highlighted. I hold the Control key. I click on any one of them, and I come down here to Quick Actions. And look at this, Create PDF. It's right there. So when I do this, they've made a PDF. They leave the 3 things are left alone. I look inside here, and wow, it's a 3-page PDF. And so if I wanted to have these stars as part of this this document, I can grab this page, and I can put it between pages 2 and 3. I can we'll come back here and get this thing here. I can put this between pages 1 and 2, and so now I've made a 5-page PDF by combining PDFs. I can rearrange pages. You want to have the stars go first, just click it and drag it around. Drag, drag, drag. Oh, well, let's get to the very top. There we go. Okay, so I can do this because sometimes you just get things out of order. Maybe you put them in a scanner and they come to you backwards or upside down or something. You need to, rotate the pages and then move them, change their order. This is how you do it. All right, very last but not least, I hope I've got a minute.
Yes.
I do. Good. Let's go back. I'm going to back to pages again. Let's say in pages, I want to insert a picture here. So I'm gonna go to my my photos. I don't have a lot of photos here because this is sort of a sample. But I'm gonna put this picture of these Texas wildflowers into my pages document. Let's say I want to have some text across the top here that's the exact same color as this orange of these I think Indian paintbrush. So how do I get that color? Well, I mean, I can guess. I'm going to make a little text box here. I'm going to, since this was in Texas, I'm going to call it Texas, and because it's Texas and everything's bigger in Texas, we're going to make that big. I didn't mean to do that. I think I made it blue by mistake. All right, just let me back up there. I'm going to make this big by going to the text here, and I'm going to make this a big font like this. Then we're just going to run this up really big. But of course, it's black, right? It's black. So how am I going to make this the right color? Well, if I highlight this text and I go over here to text color, these colors, none of these are quite right. Okay, they're close, but they're not right. So I use the color picker. Now, if I use the color picker, I have all these choices to play around with, and that might be possible. But that's eyeballing it. But I've got this nice eyedropper. If I click the eyedropper, I can go click on a piece of this picture, and I've got it exactly here. Now, if that color's so good to me, I'm going to grab this swatch. I'm going to put it in a box here so I can keep this for easy access next time. So now that you might think, well, that's nice. I'm going to use the eyedropper here also, and I'm going to maybe get some of this great purple here. Okay, and I'll put this purple here too. But again, I can now I can switch between these very easily. But what's really cool about this is let's say I also am interested in those green stars. I want to get that color. Well, they're not even in the same document, right? That's over here. This is preview. Over here, this is pages. I can still use the eyedropper, come over here and pick this green, and I've got that, and I'll park this up here. And so now I have this palette of colors that I can choose from anytime I need them. I can just pop open the palette and I'll say, well, I want the purple. No, I want the orange. I want the green. So that's a really handy thing to do. It doesn't matter where on your screen you click, you can still pick up that color. So use the color picker and use the eyedropper and make your own little color palette like this, and you'll you save yourself the time and trouble of trying to guess at the colors. Okay, that is what we have for today. So if we have time for questions, I'm ready for questions.
Okay. Raquel Dunning, can you please unmute yourself and ask your question? Raquel, are you still here? Raquel? Yes, Raquel's question was about, Raquel, I need you to ask this question. If not, Hank, can you unmute yourself and ask your question while we're waiting for Raquel?
Yes. First, I wanted to know if you were in Reader and you had a whole bunch of ads showing up, or rather, if you had a whole bunch of ads showing up, you'd been to a newspaper or something like that, and you wanted to copy the article, and the ads are all over the place. Can you put it in Reader and then print it?
Of course. Yeah, that's the way to do it. Like here, let's go to I'll go to the latimes.com.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And we'll just pick the first article here, and you can see there's an ad, ads all over the place, right? So what I'll do is I'll view it in the reader mode, and now it's nothing but the article. I could click in here and do a select all, and copy this and go paste it somewhere. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the way to
Yeah.
do it.
How
Can I
easy.
add? Hey, I need to add a little bit to that because sometimes, just sometimes, when you put an item in reader view, you don't always see all the content.
That's correct. Yeah, especially you'll miss pictures. So the reader view attempts to find what the story is and to figure out the beginning and the end of the story and format it like this, but it's not always perfect. So if you don't see the whole story, if it ended like here, I didn't get the video either, right? So I can't watch this video. Sometimes you just have to get out of reader mode and take your chances with the ads. All right.
Yes, you'll have a long PDF. You print it to PDF, you'll have a long PDF, but you'll still have all of the content.
Yeah.
All right, Raquel. Thank you.
Yeah,
Raquel is here now.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can.
Okay, I'm sorry that I don't know how to put my face in the screen. Do I put face? No. Choose video filter or what? What do I do?
Don't worry about that.
Okay.
Just ask your question.
Okay. The question was, can you, when you're reading an article without the ads and it's being read to you, can you also request to have it read in a different language at the same time?
I think you can. So let's look at go back to that article here. Let's look at this one. Of course, you didn't have to be in reader mode to read it, but it makes it cleaner if you do. So let's go here,
Mhm.
and we're going to show the reader. And when it starts reading, it doesn't give you any choices here, right? It's just going to start reading. So now the control is here in the system settings. We're going to look for speech again.
Uh-huh.
And in here, let's find the spoken content part. So system speech language gives me a language, and let's do German for Eckert. So
Wonderful.
here we go.
Hallo, ich heiße Anna und ich bin eine deutsche Stimme.
Okay, so
Oh, that's great. Wonderful. Thank you.
I don't know what's going to happen here, but I don't know if she's going to translate it.
Like you
Okay.
said, in German, vielen Dank. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Timothy Childers, you're next. Gerald Gifford, you're after Timothy. Timothy, can you unmute yourself and ask your question, please?
In early September, Hurrikane ientore area devast.
How about that, huh? All right. Good
How
question.
about that? Timothy, are you here? You want to ask your question?
I don't know how.
You don't know. Was
We're
that
doing so well.
Timothy? Go ahead, Timothy. We couldn't hear that what you just said. Okay. Gerald, can you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Is there an easy way to share my calendar with my wife? She's not very computer literate, but it would be nice if we could look at each other's calendars. We keep running into conflicts with appointments.
Okay. Yeah, sure there are. I mean, one way is to print it out and hand it to her. That's probably not what you're looking for,
It
right?
changes all the time.
Yeah. Okay. That was me trying to be funny. It's trying. Okay, so here's what you do. So I'm guessing that you have your own Apple ID and your wife has an Apple ID as well.
Yes,
So,
sir.
okay, good. So what you can do is now in here I don't have an Apple ID signed in, so I don't have a calendar that I can share. But the basic idea is that you can control click on one of your calendars. So you do it over here on the left. You won't do it on my Mac. It'll be under your Apple ID heading. So you'll see on my Mac, maybe you'll see the name of your Apple ID here. And when you control click on it, you'll have an option to share it. And so then you can share it with your wife. You put in her email address and it'll send a link to her. When she clicks it, that calendar will be added to her calendar. So as a separate shared calendar.
Do we both need to be using Ventura?
No, absolutely not.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
All right. Okay.
Good question.
Timothy Childers had a question that I really want to answer, or even if you can answer it. The question is, when I use Spotlight, how do I find out the locations of each of the 7 documents with the same name? And
Well, let's
if you,
see if we can go
pull up Spotlight, and
I'm gonna look for NMUG. I have things that say NMUG. Okay. So are we saying, like, here we see what these documents are, but you're looking for where are they, right?
yes.
Okay, now there's a couple ways to do this. One way is to go down here and say search in the Finder. When you do this, it pops open a box and it shows you these things. If you click on one of these things, just click once, they show you the path down here at the bottom that tells you where it is. Now, if they don't show you the path, it's because up here, the path bar, well, I guess it's yeah, the path bar is going to show in a search box like this. So I can see where that is. I can see where this is. I can see where this is. So that's one way to do it. Another way to do it, I hope this works, is so you do your search, and then if you hold down the command key, no, not the command key anymore.
It is the command. It is the command key.
It is. Well,
if you click on something,
click on it first.
And plus press the command key.
I've got it, but you know what? It's not showing for me in Ventura 13.3. That's very interesting.
It shows for me. What can happen is if you have something highlighted and you press the command key, it will show you the path as well in that blue outline.
Be nice if it did, but
it would also be nice if you were allowed to expand Spotlight. Spotlight is woefully small. But go ahead, Christian.
Yeah, so I'm pressing the command key as hard as I can, and I'm not getting it. And it's I think that's just one of those deals where sometimes it's, well, maybe it's 13.3. I don't know.
It's just not working for you, because it's working for me right now.
Okay, well, in theory, in fact, I was sure that was going to work. The idea is that, yes, you highlight something, you press down the command key, and it shows you where it is. I'm just going to try it one more time. Let's do I'll look for mug, and I'm going to see if I've got something here. Here's something here. I'm going to hold down the command, and sure enough, no worky. So I don't know. Okay, so it's supposed to work. The command key is the best I can do, and if it doesn't work, we're out of luck. Okay, but my other method of doing the search in the Finder also worked, right? That worked.
There's also a show. Go ahead, Timothy.
I think I figured out the problem. I don't have a show more command in my Searchlight because I'm on an older version, Big Sur, but I do have the search in Finder window, which works, right? Gets the job done. So thank you for that tip.
Okay, you got it. By the way, while you're in there, look at this great slider here to make your icons bigger. Woo! So I like big icons. You can see what things are. All right, next.
Okay, Charles Anthony, can you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Hi, thanks. When I send images, JPEGs, PNGs, things like that, in an email, in mail, and sending it to somebody, they're receiving oftentimes the image embedded in the message, not attached. So if they need to download it, they can't. Is there a trick to keeping that from happening?
Sure there is. Of course there is, right?
Right.
Of course there's a trick. And of course we know what it is. So let's do let's make that thing again like we did before. So this is what Apple does. If it's a one-page image or a one-page PDF, they show it in the body of the email. If it's a multi-page thing, and remember we made one that was multi-page. Remember this one here that had 2 pages. If it's multi-page, you get an icon. So your trouble happens when you have one-page images, whether it's a PDF or a PNG or a JPEG. But so let's put this in here. And what you do, so here's one we've done. You control click on it and you can choose to view it as an icon. Looky there. Okay,
Yep.
so here's another
I've
one.
done that. Excuse me. I have done that with PDFs and it works fine, but with JPEGs, I'll still do that and will still come through oftentimes, not every time, but oftentimes it'll come through embedded. It happens on the phone more than
Aha.
from the iPhone than it is from the Mac, but it does happen even if I choose icons. So I'm not sure if maybe it's the size of the image or something. I don't know.
Well, I don't know either. This is the best I can do for you right now is the control click business to view it.
Okay.
So you're on the right track.
Thank you. Thanks.
Chris Hart, would you like to unmute yourself and add your comment? Chris Hart, thank you. Chris Hart, I may have accidentally muted you trying to mute someone else. So Chris, if you can unmute yourself and try that again, please. Okay, no luck. All right, Chris suggested that you might want to zip that piece of content and then you could send it so that it's not embedded. But with that, it is 12:45. It is time to thank Christian for such a wonderful presentation. Can you please unmute yourself and thank Christian?
Thanks, Christian.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you much.
Thank you. We really appreciate it.
Very good.
Thanks, Christian.
Great presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next week, we have Mike Matthews, so you don't want to miss that. He's going to be talking about passwords. So that is always, I guess, kind of exciting. So join us for that. And outside of that, we will see you next week. Thank you for your support.